Allison, thank you so much for joining us here at the Bentonville Film Festival, the 10th anniversary year. We're very excited to have you. We're going to talk about your film, Chaperone. I have had the privilege of seeing your film, but for the viewing audience, please tell them a little bit about the piece.
Sure. So Chaperone is a narrative feature film written and directed by a woman named Zoe Eisenberg. The film follows a 29-year-old woman who gets mistakenly asked out on a date by a young high school athlete, and the way that I'll describe it is it's sort of a romantic tragedy.
And I believe one of the taglines is, "This is not a love story."
Yes, we want to make it very clear for audiences that this is not a love story. It's more of a woman who is struggling she likes her life the way that it is and is struggling with more of society or her peers around her telling her that, her life isn't what it should be. And so she finds a solace and acceptance in a young, naive, but full of life teenager.
And one of the things I found in this film was, of course, it was all shot in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And it was giving a true insight to Hawaii, not just what we see on the TV shows. Were there any additional struggles you had with being able to find locations or getting approval?
Sure. So the film is set in Hilo, Hawaii, which is a small town on the island of Hawaii, or Big Island as it's also known. And the director and myself, as well as our core team, our other producer Devin, we're all based there. And so Hilo is sort of our hometown. It's where we are. It's our community. And so all of the locations and the world that you see is something that we know and love. And it's our friends' businesses. It's, the 100-year-old theater that actually exists in our town. It's this beautiful historic theater. It's the beaches that you see. It's like this is all of our natural landscape and in the world that we live in. And so we were really lucky and fortunate to be able to feature that in this film.
And the cast and the crew, were they all Hawaii locals, or did you have to bring in from other places to meet the needs for the film?
Absolutely. So the casting was very intentional. We wanted to make sure that we cast as much locally that we could. We really wanted to reflect our cast with our community. Representation to us is really important. And so our Asian American, Pacific Islander cast all either have ties to Hawaii or from Hawaii. And so, for example, our lead, Mitzi Akaha, she has some family in the state, although she is currently based in Brooklyn, New York. And so we needed to bring her out, as well as some of our other cast who are LA based, a few folks who are from different islands that we were able to bring over to shoot with us. But then all of our background, a lot of the teens that you see there are all from our island as well.
And with the filming of the piece, of course, there's kind of a flip from the standard. Normally, it's been shown that it's an older man with the younger woman, and that's okay. How was it approaching the flip of this to show that this could happen too? And the reactions of people that they're like, wait a minute, older woman? How was that experience and working with that intentionally?
Well, I can't speak for Zoe, but I can tell you a little bit about maybe the inception of the film. And so when Zoe was 29 herself, she tells the story of how she had been working out at this gym and been going there fairly consistently, and this other young man had been going to the gym as well, and around the same time, and they'd strike up these friendly conversations. And after a little while, he approaches her and invites her out to a house party, which is when she realizes that, he thinks that I'm in high school. And and then had to tell him that no, sir, I am 29 and I'm married, and they laughed about it, and that was that. And so the idea stuck with her, though, of what would be the type of woman who would have said yes. In what circumstances might someone have said yes? And what would that draw be? And so for her to sort of go down this path and explore it as a writer and now as a director as well, that's kind of where that, I think, came from. And at that time, we've been developing this project together since 2019, and so we had written this prior to that. And so at that time, we hadn't really seen very many stories told from a female perspective of an older woman, younger man. And to me, I thought that was really interesting as a producer to step in and want to see that explored. But, at the same time, like you had mentioned, if the roles had been reversed, would this have even really been a story? And that was part of, I think, the interesting part of it, is that there's definitely different expectations on women. There are, and so it's been an interesting conversation to be able to continue to have. And also just in the last year or so, a number of movies who are also exploring that type of, that concept, right, have come out, like May, December, or, I'm not thinking of the Anne Hathaway one.
Oh, yes, and as soon as you say that, it left me.
I know. I feel bad.
And it just came out with
the
film festival and or the music festival. Yes.
I feel terrible. Anyway, so like May, December, a number of movies have come out that sort of explore that age gap relationship. And but what I really appreciated about Zoe and her approach to the story is that it was always told through a feminine lens. And so I think that sympathy and that care and that empathy that goes into that role, while even though her spiral downward, without giving too much away, is really hard to watch sometimes, her behavior is also called out by the people around her, even though the consequences of her behavior are also taking out on the people around her. And so I think it's an interesting exploration that just hadn't seen before.
And for people watching this that are thinking about jobs in film and options they have for what they can do, what piece of advice do you wish you had prior into becoming a producer that you wish someone had shared with you? What pearl of wisdom do you have?
Oh, so many. Are we talking just like, I guess, let me think about that for a moment. I've had a number of really great mentors over the years, and I think the courage to just go out and do it, just to figure it out as you go, has been sort of what I've taken upon myself. It's like, don't claim to know everything. And so maybe it's like, be humble, but don't be afraid to try something new and to push yourself to grow. There's so much to learn in the film industry and so many different avenues you can go. And my approach was to sort of learn everything, say yes to everything. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do. But I feel like I've learned something from every job I've taken and every position that I've held on a film set, and now as a producer and to have this feature under my belt. I really appreciated that I had all those experiences to lean on, and no role is too small. You learn from being a PA to an assistant to taking on different departments, and it informs everything that you do. So no role is too small, maybe. Sorry, it took me a moment to get to what I might say to people who are thinking about it, but yeah.
And so, of course, as one of the producers or the producer, how much of a voice did you get to give this? I know you wanted Zoe to shine, but how much of your voice made it into the piece?
Well, I love working with Zoe, and I think as a writer and director, I think she's just really brilliant and really wonderful. And what I appreciate about our collaboration is that I guess let me rewind a little bit, but being a producer is a really fun role. It's both creative, it's administrative, it's there's so many different hats that you wear as a producer, and I think that when people ask, so what is a producer, it's hard to define because there's a lot of different ways of being a producer, and that might be different for different director or producer relationships. And I think working with Zoe, and also shout out to my producing partner Devin on this project, we all had to wear so many hats, but the collaboration was very strong, and I really appreciate that we had room to share our opinions, to ask for feedback, ask for help when needed, and be able to jump in and support each other to make a movie. And it's no easy feat making a feature on any level, right? So to be able to have really great people that you want to work with and that show up every day to make something happen is really special. So I feel that, yes, I had lots of opportunities to share my voice and opinion and work with Zoe, but at the same time, I feel really proud that, we were able to support her and really realizing her vision as well.
And encouraging minds and giving them a voice is a good thing. And
absolutely.
It's not easy to balance that. Mm-mm. It takes a talent to be able to say, I want you to shine, and I'm going to support you doing it. So.
Yeah, and to help someone, realize their vision as well. I can speak to a particular moment that I think was fun, and it sort of surrounds our casting. And so the script that Zoe wrote versus the script that we shot, there were definitely some differences. And in the casting for our lead role of the male lead, Jake, it was an interesting process, right? We cast Mitzi first, who plays the Misha character, and she had been on the project for almost 2 years before we were actually able to shoot. So we were very clear about, we knew our lead, we knew we needed someone who could really hold this character and take us on this journey with her throughout, since she's really, it's a strong character-driven film in that sense. But we needed someone like to play Jake that had enough chemistry, that made you want to watch what was going to happen next. And we had found a couple really standout actors to play that role, and when we had we asked them to do chemistry reads, but they were on screen they were two very different. It was very different, I'll put it that way. One of them was 19, and he clearly looked like he was in high school. Looked a little younger, but he and Mitzi had read really well together. And this is all on Zoom, by the way. We recorded these pieces on Zoom, was COVID. And then we had Laird, who we ended up casting, and he's 22, and he looks a little older. And so it was on the fence, right? So he was like, I wrote this role with the intent of it being that he was in high school, and I'm concerned that this isn't, I'm not quite sure what to do in this moment, which one to cast, because I really like both of them. And neither of them were bad choices. And so I remember watching both, and we talked about it, and I had a very clear opinion of who I wanted to see on the screen, but I knew that's, at the end of the day, it's not my choice. It's up to Zoe. And so, we ended up deciding that it's sometimes it's not just about what we want, but also who our audience is and who we want to reach with this film. And so we shared these videos of these chemistry reads with a handful of our dear friends who are of our target audience, which is I would say women in their 30s or 40s, to see who they wanted to watch, and it was all 100% clearly Laird, the Jake that we have. And so it was a great exercise in sometimes asking more questions to help get to the right solution. And in this case, it was casting our phenomenal lead as Jake.
And it's wonderful to have a support system you can reach out to.
Absolutely. It takes a village, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I love that you have a clear audience you're trying for. I mean, anyone can watch this film. Anyone can enjoy this film. There's
Absolutely.
something in it for everyone. But there's a target audience. How did you all come to the decision of what range you wanted it to be?
Well, it's interesting. It wasn't so much that we chose the audience. It was that Zoe had written the script from a very clear perspective, and when she started sharing the script for feedback, it was very clear who liked it and who didn't get it. And so it was, we would send it out for notes, we would send it out to friends, other people in the industry, and it was just very much so the women in our community versus the men in our community had very strong opinions about it or didn't quite get what we were doing. And so it became something that we just saw naturally as we shared it with more and more people, and as we got more and more feedback, who resonated with the story in the way that Zoe and realized what Zoe was trying to do, I think, with it. Not so much, and so it's like, it's not a very, sorry, I'm not feeling very eloquent right now, so I hope you can edit some of that out.
You're wonderful.
And so, yes, we discovered this audience in the process of development, and that we realized that those are the people that got it, and those are the people that we really were making it for. So I think that was an interesting part of this exploration and getting here now. And I will say that now that we've made the movie, I think our audience is definitely broader, but that was the intent, and that was kind of where we pushed it to make sure that audience was always in mind. I think helped us make a stronger piece too at the end of the day.
Well, I thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you'd like to share, including your socials, the movie's socials, or how people can support and help get Chaperone available to more people, please go ahead and share that with us.
Absolutely. So we are on Instagram and Facebook as Chaperone Film Hawaii, and we'd love if anybody gets a chance to see the movie to feel free to write a review for us on Letterboxd. We currently don't have distribution. However, if anybody wants to go on Rotten Tomatoes and click the Want to Watch button or share, that can also help. I believe we also have reviews going up on IMDb and other places as well. And so, feel free to reach out to us there and connect with us online. And we hope you enjoy the movie.
Thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Absolutely. I'd love to go back a little bit. I think you asked a question about Hawaii and our locations, and I don't think I got the chance to say a little bit more about our connection to Hawaii, and so I don't know if that's something that you could elaborate on.
I mean, there's so many people that'll never have the chance to see, and it's a beautiful state, so please feel free. I want more people to know Hawaii. Yeah. So, we asked about our locations, and I pointed out that this is our community, and we are all regional based filmmakers, so we're all based in Hawaii. And we aim to tell stories of Hawaii and better represent our state there. I was born and raised on the island, and so to me this is home. And Zoe's been there for over 12 years now. I hope I'm getting that right. But her and her husband are also very connected to the community, and they helped run the Made in Hawaii Film Festival for a number of years up until the pandemic. And Zoe's husband, Phil, is the executive director of the Hilo Palace Theater that is featured in our film that our main character works at. And so we love the opportunity to be able to tell stories of people and place and of our little home and our community there. Hilo is a
amazing little tiny town that I don't believe before we made our film has really ever been featured as itself on film. So that was really exciting for us, because a lot of what people see when they watch movies that are set in Hawaii or about Hawaii, it's more like the White Lotus. You know, these TV shows and movies that are set in these beautiful resorts and on these beautiful beaches, and they don't get to see the side of Hawaii that's like the jungle, or you know, these tiny little funky towns that are on the beach side, right? And
or they're filmed in New Zealand and say it's Hawaii.
That
those
too.
are different
it's
things.
Not,
those are very different.
Same. Exactly. Yeah. You know, or it's like it's Hawaii, but it's Jurassic Park. You know, so it's like it's not really playing itself. It's just a backdrop for a big studio film, and Hawaii has so much more to offer than that, and some amazing stories and storytellers that are coming out of the state. And so we're very, very lucky to be able to call this place home, but then also to find ways of being able to share those stories on screen. So I'm excited for the future of film in Hawaii and the more stories that we can tell there.
So thank you, and I look forward to seeing more of Hawaii being shown.
Yes.
And I wish you an aloha.
Absolutely.